Hey, so early this morning, was laying in bed and I actually spent some time compiling my list of everything that I have done this year, all my releases, audiobooks that I have commissioned, um, boxes and different stuff that I've done. And I actually just remembered something that I left off, but you know, it's a little random, so that's not that big of a deal. But I was actually surprised by how much stuff is here. Like I was actually really surprised. Um, for every month, like there's something big or small for every month. And so I'm just gonna go straight into this and I'll put, I'll use this little area over here to put some little images up on the screen or whatever. But in January 2020, before the world went wrong, the first thing that I had out was actually Press Rewind, which was my little equilibrium short that I put out. It was the last of the holiday equilibrium shorts that I did, from this past holiday season. But I did not put that down because technically it came out on like December 31st. And so I didn't or December 30th, which I think 31 is December, but either way, I didn't put it down. But Inevitable Conclusions um came out in audio. I did not commission that one. That one was done by Tanter, narrated by Wesley and Jacoby DM. I think that is actually the title that I won't say it's the title that really like solidified me in audio, but in terms of my readers that who I have who talk to me most about audio, that's a title that they point to like a whole lot. And then February was busy. February, The Point of It All released. And then I had Wonder and Inevitable Seductions released in audio. Wesley narrated on both of those. For Wonder, Sean Kristen was Maddox, and then for Inevitable Seductions, um, Jacoby portrayed Steph for that one. And those were both done by Tanter too. I was really, really excited about both of those. Yeah, both of those were done by Tanter. And again, I was really excited for both of those, especially Wonder, especially Wonder. I really wanted to hear that, and Wesley and Sean both they did an incredible job with that, to me. And then the Honey Branch box came out, which was tied to The Point of It All. I really loved Eva's story, and that the audio for that came out a little bit later in the year, but I was really excited to revisit Sugar Valley to tell Eva's story, because something that I don't that not a lot of people know, I guess, unless you're in my head. And I think I may have talked about this before, but the Honey Branch Winery story and Eva was actually the first person who came to me for Sugar Valley. Honey Branch actually came to me before, before Sugar Valley came to me. Honey Branch came to me, and so those were actually the stories that came first, and it was going to be like a pure rom-com. And so I was glad to be able to go back to that, glad to be able to revisit that and actually tell that story, that was going to be called You Had Me at Pinot at first. That story went through like a lot of different iterations before it became what it is. But I like to believe that when that happens to me with certain stories where I just can't seem to push through to finish it, and then I'm able to come back to it later, I like to think that there was something that I needed to learn. There was some skill that I needed to develop as a storyteller before I could come back to the story and really get it right. And so I'm glad that I was able to revisit that, because I do feel like I was able to get it right with Eva and The Point of It All. Really love that story. In March was a busy month. March is actually also my birthday month. And March was actually a really difficult month for me, because that was the month that I had been, I've been through therapy, you know, and I do still go to therapy, but something that I had spent a lot of time talking to my therapist about was like celebrating myself and, you know, really like really owning my accomplishments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And my birthday is March the 13th, and I was supposed to really celebrate my birthday this year. And I also had decided to have a birthday release, which ended up being Collision Course. And so it was going to be twofold. You know, I rarely really celebrate my releases, even, you know, even the Unbroken Rose. Like we never even we didn't even end up doing like dinner or anything, because I actually released the Unbroken Rose on my baby's birthday, and so everything was kind of focused on her, and so we never did come back around to do that celebration. But anyway, March was supposed to be when I was really going to do that, and the way that I ended up spending my birthday instead was hunting down Clorox wipes so that I could take Clorox wipes to my kids' school so that they could, you know, so that the teachers would have what they needed to, you know, to disinfect and everything. It was when everything just kind of it was like that big shift. That March 13th, that Friday was like that big shift with everything, and they actually didn't end up going back to school. I don't think they ended up going back to school, but yeah, that was how I ended up spending my birthday. I did still have the release, and the release went well and all of that, but it was just, you know, it was just a lot. But anyway, I think I might need you and Equivalent Exchange, both released in audio. And those were both projects that those are both projects that I commissioned myself, which makes them a little more, just slightly more meaningful to me. Not the project themselves, but the audio, you know, the audio format of the project. It makes it a little more meaningful to me because, you know, because those are risks. You know, I had to find narrators, and, you know, just I had to figure the project out. I had to, you know, I paid for those. I had to spend that money. And so it just makes me a little more tied to them. That was my first introduction to Emmanuel Ingram as a narrator. I believe that was actually his first audio. That was his first romance novel project. And Wesley had worked on, you know, other projects for me. And so when I reached out to her about potentially doing this project, I was so excited when she said yes. And when I asked her if she knew a male narrator that she could recommend, she recommended Emmanuel because he was someone she knew, and she recommended him. And he just blew it out of the water. They both blew it out of the water. They did such a wonderful job with Lakin and Karis, and I was just over the moon about it. Um, those Love Sisters books, not so much. I'm not gonna speak ill of anyone. It's I had a little issue with with the timeline of production on those, and I'll leave that there because I don't care to speak ill of anyone. But it was still just an exciting process in general. And then culmination of everything and Inevitable Addiction, those projects both came out in audio as well. Tantor produced both of those. And then of course Collision Course, which was Addison and Samara. That was the introduction of my Clark Brothers series, which, you know, those Clark brothers. Clark is actually uh, Clark is a family name for me, which is where that came from. For them, the idea of them being the Clarks, and that was just a little something to, you know, to a little nod to a little nod to my family with that. Um, that project was really fun. I had a really good time making the series thing happen with the Love Sisters project, but, you know, going straight through, like I'm gonna write the series. We're gonna stick with this series all the way through. And I wanted to see if I could do it. Like I had managed to do it with the Love Sisters. I wanted to see if I could do it again with the Clarks, and I managed to do it again. In April, I think I Might Want You came out in audio. That was the last book of the Love Sisters project. And then Controlled Chaos, which was Drew and Lord, I didn't forget the what was the Dre. I was gonna say what in the world was the other brother's name? Andre and Drew. that was their story. Control Chaos, and then in May, Close Contact. I was able to wrap up the Clark Brothers series, and then right after that is where we moved into that's when we moved into Reinvention of the Rose, and I was really really just over the moon excited about that project, but I was a little nervous about it because that project and the Unbroken Rose, they're both solely from the heroine's point of view. You don't hear from the hero because the books, are about the heroines. It's not about the thorns, it's about the roses. And so I was really nervous about that. And I was also really nervous about um not putting that project in KU because, people get used to a certain thing, and not even and it's not even just about people getting used to it. Um I I've done a whole video, about the KU program, and I definitely see the benefits and the merits of it from an author standpoint, and then also from a reader standpoint. But with KU, when you as the creator, when you lock yourself into a program like that, you don't have the benefit, like you can't put the book anywhere else. And so anyone who does not want to purchase from Amazon, they're just out of luck. If any libraries want to carry the work, they're just out of luck because you can't have it listed on you can't have it listed for ebook distribution through libraries or anything like that either. And I really just wanted to, I didn't want that. I wanted libraries to be able to get my work. I wanted to be able to have the freedom of having my work in other places. And so I was just really appreciative that people embrace that for me. And then the Serendipitous Love series came out in audio version. That was actually a deal directly with Audible versus Tanter. Audible Studios produced those for me in a deal that was actually set into place. Well, I won't say that she set the deal into place. She recommended me, but Alexandria House, who had that amazingly successful Audible original that she did with them, her oh my goodness, the name of the college just completely slipped my mind, but Teach Me and then Touch Me was what's the second one. But she had worked with Audible before, and so she gave them my name, and I was just so immensely grateful for that, for that opportunity. And immensely grateful that not only that she gave them my name, but that they actually were like, that they actually did something with it, because you can do what you can, and say people's and mention people's names, and you can recommend people, for different things. But and you've done your part, don't get me wrong, but it's a different thing for, for that opportunity to actually come full circle, and for something to actually come of it. And so forever grateful to Miss House for, for being willing to mention my name in a room when she didn't have to. And I didn't even know she was like gonna do it. Like we were having a conversation, and she was like, "Oh, by the way," and I was like, "Oh my God, okay." But yeah, just super grateful to her for that, because that was an opportunity, like that's been a really good opportunity with that, to just kind of, and that has helped me solidify myself, in audio, which is like really a completely different audience than ebook is. I mean, there's definitely some overlap, but there's a lot of readers who strictly, like, they are strictly audiobooks. They're not, ebook is not their thing, or ebook or paperback is not their thing. They're audio consumers. And so I think that's been like a really large part of me being able to kind of grow my readership this year, is audio. In July, The Point of It All came out, and Tanter was the one who did that. And then I did Me for Somebody's Son, which is so crazy because, like, I just had in my mind that I just wanted to write something sexy, and I wanted to write something funny, and that's what came out. That's what came out. And I jokingly, I jokingly had said to Nicole Falls, like, yeah, I'm gonna name this Me Plus Somebody's Son, because early in the book, Haven the heroine in that project, she makes this comment like that she doesn't like that. She's not into that. She doesn't want to be like, she doesn't have any type of me and somebody's son meme type aspirations, etc., etc. And I was like, I'm gonna name it that. And then Nicole sent me Jade Nova, really fabulous artist, but she sent me this Jade Nova song called Somebody's Son. And once I listened to that song, I was like, oh man, like that definitely has to be the name, because the song was just such, such a perfect vibe for those two. And then in August, I did the Heights box, which was really fun. That had I got to go back to my candle making. What I used to do. I have done so much. I have done so many different things, like tried so many different things in terms of businesses and stuff like that before I finally kind of found my passion and really settled in as a writer. I tried so many different things, and candle making and making sugar scrubs and stuff was one of those things. And so it was nice to kind of go back to that for Wax Poetic, to make, to make the candles for the Heights box, and then making the wax melts or whatever for the Heights box. And that's just been, that's been fun. And then The Truth came out in audio, and The Truth was another one that I commissioned myself, and it really solidified for me the two projects that really solidified that, that this was really worth something. That commissioning the audio myself was really worth something, was The Truth and Equivalent Exchange. Like really those projects were really, really successful in audio and really kind of made the difference. And then in September, oh September, Behind the Scenes, that book, the reception to that book really blew my mind. And while I was writing it, it's one of the longest projects that I've ever done, certainly the longest that I've done in a while. And I just really, like, I just wanted nothing but good and sweet things for Logan and Pierre. And it's so crazy because when I first sat down to try to write that project, Pierre was such a different person, and it just did not feel right to me. Like, it just would not curl over for me the way that I wanted it to. But once I took a step back and then came back to it, I was able to get his characterization right. That kind of moody artist, who is very emotional, but not weak by any means, but just very emotional, very introspective. And then to pair him with someone who was so neurotic, so organized, so very on top of things, so very black and white with Logan, that was just magic. And I'm still blown away by the reception to that project, because it's always in the back of my mind that nobody's really gonna like this. Like, always in the back of my mind that nobody's really gonna like it. But you guys showed me different, and as of right now, I actually went to it to see. This book has 523 ratings, which is amazing to me, because I don't get reviews like that. Like, I don't get reviews like that. Like, I did for a while, and then it stopped. And then this is the project, that this is the next project, to for there to be, just that kind of overwhelming response like that. And it has really just blown me away. Behind the Scenes is my most successful project to date. And I'm not just talking about reviews, I'm like in terms of earnings and all of that. It was another project that I did not put in KU, and so it was really, that was scary. That was scary. I did not put that project in KU, and it's the highest price point I've ever done. That $6.99 price point is the only time I've ever done that price point for a single, for a one project. Like, I have box sets and stuff that are more than that, but $6.99 for one book, for one for one story, like, it was scary. But I had to kind of take a gamble on myself, and I had to decide what, all the time and all the energy and all the effort that I put into that project. I had to decide to, to price it where I felt, where I felt the worth was in it. And people responded favorably to it. So, there's that. Um Behind the Scenes is actually coming in audio too. It's coming in audio too. There was, like, kind of getting stuff in at the end of the year, there was some just some congestion, some congestion with being able to get the files, with getting the files mastered and edited and all of that. But behind the scenes is coming in audio as well, and it's probably January. I have to reach out to the narrators to see what the time frame is looking like on that. But it's done. It's done. We just, just got to get the files back. And then um in October I was struggling a little bit after behind the scenes, like after you have, it's like you're grateful for, for the project to really hit like you wanted to. Um but at the same time, it's kind of like, all right, so how do I follow that up? Like, what do I do next? Like, how do I possibly do something that meets that? And so I think I kind of stopped trying and was like, I'm just going to take a mental break and I'm just going to do something I'm going to enjoy. And that's how we came around to the proposal, which was that short for Eddie and Astrid that's only available on my website. I have not made that available on Amazon or anything yet. I think it's going to stay on my site for a while. Probably like maybe at the top of the year or something like that, I'll go ahead and put it on Amazon. But that was another risk in and of itself, just me trying to establish, like, do I need to put these things on Amazon at all? Like, can I just, do it myself? Because the thing with the thing with Amazon is, but the thing with Amazon is that you have to have anything that's under a $2.99 price point. You don't make that 70% royalty on. Anything that's under a $2.99 price point, you only make a 30% royalty on. And anything that's over $9.99, you make a 30% royalty on. And that I just felt like that didn't work for me, because it wasn't long enough that I felt comfortable pricing it at $2.99. I felt like that a dollar and something, a dollar and change was a fair price point. But thinking about, okay, the customer is going to pay $1.49 for it, and I'm gonna make like I'm gonna make like 50 cents or something of that, like that's not right to me. And so I didn't want to do that. But and so that was kind of how I ended up saying, well, I can just sell it to the customer directly myself. And they're paying, they're paying the fair price point for it. But instead of someone else getting the benefit of my work, I get the benefit of my work versus someone else. And that has really been kind of a theme for me this year, wanting to divest from these systems that their business model is based on other people providing the content, but I'm going to make a larger part of the money than the person who actually created the content. And that's really a big part of why I'm wanting to divest from like the Audible, ACX. I'm wanting to divest from all of that. Because okay, like take Tanter for example. Tanter purchased audio rights from me. They took on the expense of, of having the audiobook produced. They paid the narrators, they paid for the engineering, and they paid for the studio time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so they make a certain amount and I make a certain amount. Cool. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite arrangement, but I understand that they paid to have it produced. But on the other hand, when you dealing with the projects that I have had produced, everything that's out so far, actually right now, the stuff that I had produced, I paid for the production. I paid the narrators. I took on that expense, and then I put it up on ACX, and I make a 25% royalty. Or I can make a 40% royalty if I make it exclusive to Amazon. But if I don't, or Audible, if I don't want it to be exclusive to Audible, if I want to, again, make it available for library distribution, or make it available on Barnes and Noble, or make it available on Chirp, or whatever, I can only make a 25% royalty on work that not only that I created, but also a production that I funded, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just over it. I'm just over it. And don't get me wrong, I definitely understand. I understand business. I understand business models, and I understand all of that. And I know that, I know that my readers and stuff, my readers are still there, and I'm not going to, I'm not ready to abandon those. I'm not ready to completely abandon those systems quite yet, but I am looking at how I can take more charge of my own work. If I'm the one who has put the time and the energy and the money into it, someone else shouldn't be making someone else shouldn't be making more profit off of it than I do. That just i'm 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 done with with fully, with full acceptance of that. But anyway, the proposal. And I also did the proposal on, I skipped something because in October I went ahead and finished up the Rose That Got Away. I finished up the Rose That Got Away on my podcast on story time. I need to do something else with story time. I'll be back to that. But yeah, and I did the proposal on Storytime. That was where I got that from. Okay, November. In November, oh, the Clark Brothers audiobook came out, and that was just a whole other frustrating, like incredibly frustrating process that I went through again with the retailer. The narrators were great. Like no issues there with with either of them. They were both awesome. They were both incredibly professional. But the retailer, like, it was so much trouble. Like the Clark Brothers audio project was finished back in like August, like super super early August, and it didn't come out until November. And I'm getting upset thinking about it again. So I'm gonna move on. And then it's the chase for me. Because I was still just like my headspace was still off, and I just needed something light. I needed something funny. And I had all these starts of light, funny stuff that I had started and just couldn't push through. And I'm like I kept trying to make myself make just one of them work, and I couldn't make just one of them work. But when like it popped in my head, like, wait a minute, what if in conjunction with each other, like what if I have something here? And I did have something. I had It's the chase for me. And so I was really excited to be able to use that stuff because it was all such good, funny stuff that I didn't want to abandon it. I didn't want it to, I didn't want it to be for nothing because it was all good stuff. And I was glad to be able to go back to that. And then in November I also did the Love Sisters box, which I need to check because people are still just now getting those boxes, and which is, I ain't even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna go there. But that was a good time. I got to make some more wax melts and do the mugs, and I got to put some stuff together, and so that was fun. Um, and then December, we're around to December. I did my Heights holiday things. I didn't really do a box, but I got to make some more stickers and make some wax melts, and you guys saw the mugs yesterday, and so that was fun. Um, and then the Unbroken Rose came out. I spent the bulk of kind of the end of November into, the early parts of December writing that and finishing it out. And Dasha's story was a difficult one to tell. It was a difficult one to tell. And I don't know that I would have had what I needed to pull it together if I had not done The Rose That Got Away, because as soon as I wrote Isaiah into the end of The Rose That Got Away, like, I remember sending Alexandra a message like, I think that's going to be Dasha's hero. And as soon as I said it, I was like, really? A thorn? Really? Like, for real? And I didn't, I didn't have anything else. I did not know what their connection was going to be or anything like that. I just knew, I just knew that part of it. And we went from there. And it turned out so lovely. Like it turned out so lovely. Like I really just love I love the way that book turned out. And I did do some, you guys heard me the other day, beating myself up. Well, it didn't do what behind the scenes did, and I think there's always just gonna be that, because I'm me and I'm never I'm never completely satisfied. So I think there's always gonna be some of that. But it is what it is. And then what I had in the back of my mind, like, and this was, if you guys remember back maybe a week or so ago, or it may have been a couple of weeks ago, but I remember when I wrote the little short for the All Sweet No Bitter short. When I wrote that, I remember telling you guys that I had in my, like, I have it in the back of my mind that I want to write some other little Christmas shorts. But then I was so absorbed with no, you need to, if you're going to write anything, you need to finish Dasha's story. Like you need to commit to that. You need to focus on that. I was so focused on that I never, I never took that step aside or I never put, any mental space aside to give to any of the other stories. But then I came around to doing it. And that's why, over those few days, you guys heard me talking like, hey, I wrote the short for Asha and King. And then, hey, I wrote, Ace and Cree. And then the final couple was Zora and Trey, and just seeing those little glimpses in at them for the holidays. Like, I really love that so much, especially because those Vegas characters, because they're so, it's just a very adult vibe, with those characters. It's a lot more of a grittiness to them, a lot more, just a lot more darkness, and a lot more, I don't know, it's just a completely different vibe. And so seeing them, now that they are in love, and now that they are with people who are safe spaces for them, and they don't have to be so on guard. They can be vulnerable, and they can be sweet with each other, and they can be corny with each other. It's just so nice. And then my final thing that I'm going to be doing this year, Reinvention of the Rose in audio, narrated by the wonderful Ebony Flowers. I'm so excited about that. Excited and simultaneously terrified, because again, we're introducing something new. We're that I'm introducing, asking people to, download another app. Most people don't really care to download another app on their phone, because there's the question of if it's going to work properly for everybody, or if people are going to find it hard to navigate, just et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, there's of course going to be people who justifiably going to be like, well, I listen to books on Audible. I have a subscription for that. I use my credits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's just a lot to contend with. I have decided that I am still going to make it available on other retailers, but I'm probably going to push it, I'll push it through my site. Like if you're not using a credit or something like that, which I definitely understand, just trying to ask people, to consider directly supporting me more by ordering it directly through me, or listening to it, purchasing it directly through me versus one of the larger retailers. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, it'll be great if it goes well, and if not, it'll definitely be a lesson learned. It'll definitely be a lesson learned. And um that's just something that I have been trying to do this year, just trying to be very willing to just very willing to take those different risks, and very willing to try new things. And if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And just trying to be transparent about that, because I don't have, or I don't feel like I have that person that I can look to who has. I cannot keep these things in my ears for the life of me. How do you keep your wireless earbuds in your ears? But well, I know part of it is that I'm not pushing it as far in as you're supposed to. But anyway, um, I don't feel like I have that person that I can look to, who has done this thing and done that thing, and I can say, well, hey, this person is a role model for me. And that's not to say that I'm trying to be anybody's role model, just saying that if seeing what I've done can help somebody, seeing what I've done that worked and that didn't work can help somebody, then I definitely want to, share my experience and stuff, so that if other people have those questions, they feel more empowered to kind of take charge of what they're doing and take more charge of their career. So there's that. But this is a long list of stuff. This is a long list of stuff. I've done a lot this year. What's this, like 9 or 10 book releases, and then another like 15 audio another like 15 or so audio books. And so it's been a busy year. It's really been a busy year. And then 3 or 4 different merchandise releases and all of that, and it's been a lot. And I'm just thinking about um how I can be kind of more intentional going into the next year with what I'm deciding to do. I've been kind of going over in my mind what I want my first release of the year to be. I have an idea. I have kind of an idea in the back of my mind, and I really want to do it justice. I really want to, make my readers smile as always. And I really want to, just honor myself as a storyteller, and really just continue to grow and develop my art and grow and develop my craft, so that I'm always striving towards being the best that I can, because that's always the thing. Even when it's something short and sweet and fun, whatever is there's always a development that's happening. There's always a learning and a growing that's happening, and I just want to make sure that continues. Yeah, I think that's it for this one. This one is it's really long. This is going to be like 40 minutes long or something like that. So I think I'm done here. But I'm gonna open my planner and stuff, and I'll work with that. And just kind of show you guys how I plan to work through my planner and stuff for the year. Probably in one of the next vlogs. Today is what, today's the 22nd. And Vlogmas is only up until Christmas Day. So there's only a few more days of Vlogmas left. And I actually still have things that I had planned to do that I have not done yet. This was one of the things that I planned to do. So luckily I'll be able to cross this one off, but we'll see whether or not I'm able to get the rest of those things done. But if you hung around for this long, if you hung around through this whole video, thank you so much for listening. And let me know what you would be looking forward to from me for 2021. And I'll holler. Bye.